Moore's Top 100 for 2002. It'll be the January, February issue.
Last year Moody's was number 99.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
whoopie pie at Moody's.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know what they're gonna focus on.
My poetry education. I grew up in Maine, but I was going to college, but I decided there wasn't a direct enough poetry education. So I wrote to my favorite poet at the time and said, "Can I come and live at your house? I'll just be your apprentice." And so I ended up hitchhiking to Northern California and living at the house of a poet named Gary Snyder. And my parents wouldn't tell anyone where I'd gone. They were like, "Oh, he's off with the hippies in the woods." And they were afraid I'd come back some long-haired hippie. But while I was there, I met my real teacher, who was a Japanese wandering poet named Nesenkeag, and I've been privileged to spend a lot of time with Nanao in the last few years and wander. And last year we took Nanao to Taos, New Mexico, to the World Heavyweight Poetry Championship, which was great. And 3 months later, we bought him a plane ticket and we met him in Venice and toured around Italy for 3 weeks. This is a poem by Nanao that sort of speaks to why poetry works here, I think. If you have time to chatter, read books. If you have time to read, walk into mountain, desert, ocean. If you have time to walk, sing songs and dance. If you have time to dance, sit quietly, you happy, lucky idiots. So I'm here today representing the Happy Lucky Idiot School of Poetics. This is a poem about where I live. I caretake a farm that was owned by two writers, Henry Beston and Elizabeth Coatsworth. And while they lived there, they published between them 150 books. And when they passed away, they still had 6 horses in the barn and a nice farm. And their daughter asked me to live there, and I've been living there ever since. Now we have 1 horse and 2 donkeys. And I read this piece in Latvia, and I was in this little museum giving a reading, and it was sort of the museum's anniversary, so there were a lot of people there. And the front rows were all Latvian peasant farmers, men and women, and I just didn't think they were going to like my poems. And I sat there, and they started to smile more and more, and at the end, they asked me if American people really had farms, and that if we really had horses and donkeys, and they were so excited because they didn't think any Americans had farms and grew vegetables and had horses. They just couldn't believe it, and it was a great revelation. It was really wonderful. And then none of them could read English or speak English, but they were all having me autograph my books, and they were taking my books off, as some sort of fetish. I don't know what they did with them. Maybe they burned them later. So this is where I live. There's an empty stall in the barn where Ironside Jack the stallion lived. Last week, 2 Amish farmers and their driver came and took him to Pennsylvania, along with Sally the mare. From Jack's stall in the barn, you see the farmhouse, weathered, red, and surrounded with flowers. Beyond the house, you look east over the horse pasture and down to the lake. There are vegetables and wild lupin off to your right, and the place where the town road ends. Near dusk, the horses walk to the fence gate, hoping for grain. These horses haul our winter wood, turn the earth for our gardens. They give us warmth and life. Jack was like the guardian spirit of the place, always watching everything from here in his stall. Across the lake, cottage windows reflect the setting sun. Birds fill the air with sound. The light in the kitchen is yellow. Fog moves in behind the islands, and everything starts to quiet. Later, loons will call from the cove. We will sleep, dreaming of wind, of rain, of horses moving in the barn, and loon song pulling us into the dark water. We dive under, and come up somewhere else.